All right, test, guys. All right, third time's a charm. You guys got sound? Okay. Yeah, so the trick is, we all learn stuff every day, right? So what I just learned is if you change out the capture cards in a render machine and you already have like predisposed, like pre-set up scene stuff, even if you change the source in that on that existing entry and XSplit, it doesn't matter. Like I repointed everything and it still didn't take it. So I had to remove it all and let it and just re-add them. So lesson learned on XSplit. You got to remove the source. So you guys can hear me. We only got about 80. I about lost about half the people, and I mean that happens. It's what it is. It's 1 o'clock. If you guys can, I'm gonna make sure that the other two streams, they shouldn't post out. That way people don't have to watch that nightmare. But we'll get some folks in here. And make sure you guys can see that that's coming in. It looks like we got a few more cycling in. But you guys hear me loud and clear, right? I mean, it's a little loud right now because I got a couple fans on. I'm going to turn those off. We're going to kind of go through it. Awesome. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm not worried about who else all comes in. They can catch that after piece. So we're going to start with a few things today. I'm going to take you through. I got 12 GPUs in this build. We still haven't got the other cards yet, but we went ahead and just kind of rummaged up a few other cards that were just in some builds here and put the 12 GPUs together. Had it running all night. That's kind of the different, or what we've had back here running in the background. I didn't want to turn it off just yet to like hook up Windows and all that. I do have a Windows build. We'll get into that in a minute. But I wanted to show kind of the stability that it's been having. Here, we'll switch the scene to that real quick. See if I got I got that hooked up right, thank God. This kind of shows you guys how long it's been running, essentially. So there's the 12 GPUs. You can see the GPU types. There's 10 1080 Ti's, there's one 1070 and one 1080. That I was able to scrummage up from some just different builds here in boxes. But you can see the time there. It's been up for 11 hours and 40 minutes. So it is super stable. These are some not super aggressive overclocks on these right now. These 1080 Ti's, like in Windows, we're doing like 37, almost 38 mega hash a piece. But in Linux, they are a little slower. Windows is a little faster on the builds. So right now, this machine is mining Ubiq Coin. I've been mining Ubiq for about almost 2 weeks now, and we'll switch back to this. I've done some research with Ubiq, and I really like their kind of philosophy of what they're trying to do with the Ethereum network. So they're a fork of Ethereum. They have their own, it's just like Ethereum, but what they're doing is they're cherry picking some of the features that Ethereum pushes forward for stability with the enterprise system is their kind of target. So like one thing I was kind of talking in previous videos about having when you're choosing, if you're a company and you're choosing where to deploy on a public chain standpoint, one of the very first things that you look at from a company standpoint is it going to be stable? How often are the updates? What's the procedures of that? And you look at reliability, really, what it comes down to. And Ethereum is kind of like the incubator of testbed of awesome new features and functionality, and they have a real good process on their, with their dev meetings and trying to figure out what's coming next. Be that, even with proof of stake and all that kind of stuff. But when you look at something like Ubiq taking a different approach to it, of looking of just stability and having that public chain that's not, you know, having tons of issues that are forthcoming on that, with the stability as this primary thing, that really entices me from like the system building side of my background, of something that's going to be stable, something that's looking at enterprise first, because that keeps commerce, that keeps the back end stuff going. So I can see, you know, if they keep that kind of thing up, that it is a good value. And you know, like anything in crypto and mining, even in the times where it's not super profitable to mine, and this is one point that I want to make sure I drill real hard home, is when everybody jumps on to start getting into mining because there's a huge ROI, they're getting in that kind of that huge lift, you know, like, oh wow, it's real profitable to get into mining. But the folks that kind of stayed through it, through each of the phases of crypto for the past 7.5, 8 years, the folks that continued that mining, even when it wasn't as profitable, they were just using an asset to generate currency and then hold some of that currency of what they can as an investment, have really paid forward, you know, for making that investment. If you look at Bitcoin in the first phase, you look at Litecoin in some of the first series of altcoins, folks that mined Litecoin for years, that, you know, for a long time until just recently, it was still only $3 a coin, right? And hash power and technology, you know, got into ASICs and stuff with it, and it was still those folks that did GPU mining with it. That's the same, a lot of the same thing with Ethereum and some of its alt currencies. Why it's not super profitable right now, because of difficulty and some, you know, just the way pricing in general works with, you know, speculative markets that will drive price up, and then, you know, people will take profit. Continuing mining on what you can afford, sell what you need to sell to keep your investment going. But if you treat it like as an investment, and you pick a few coins that look like they have good futures, you know, you're taking that risk on putting something like this, like a big expensive piece of hardware, against that when it's not super profitable right now. You're looking for that future. Like, are those tokens going to be used? Is the development team making the right kind of decisions? You know, are they transparent? Does the stuff make sense that they're mining? Is it just a pump and dump coin? That kind of thing. So when we look at what we're pointing our hash power to, we look at more kind of the future. Like, is this going to be a token that makes sense, that people are going to want to hold and interchange and extract, you know, some kind of value with? And that's where we really look at where our hash power is. So that's why, I mean, we did Dash for a little bit. We've done, we used to do Litecoin a lot. I actually put a lot into Feathercoin too, because it was like the third currency. I liked the grassroots side of it. It just never really kind of took on. It had no other real benefit and value, short of just, it was the same use cases like Bitcoin, right? It was just a store value. You could transact from point to point. There was no other real features with it. But we didn't know really a lot about smart contracts and stuff at that time, and how things could be leveraged, and you could create compute power or storage, you know, capacity and that kind of stuff with coins. So that was just kind of an excerpt of why we're kind of mining Ubiq Coin. A lot of people have been asking why we've been mining Ubiq Coin, and that's why. I mean, you can do your research, do the research on it, and the development team, they have a Slack channel out there. And for a little bit, we're going to be mining that for a bit. Ethereum, until they get difficulty and stuff figured out. I mean, with the 18-month extension for proof of stake, it's roughly around 18 months is what they're saying, at least what's being reported. You can follow up on the EIPs that are produced out there, and maybe if we have time, we'll bring up an EIP, and I'll show you kind of what I mean when I say that. The Ethereum improvement plan, that's kind of the open backlog that the development team is working on. They pick and choose from that of what they need to do based on priorities, and then they start implementing those features based on kind of feedback from folks and stuff. So we'll get into now the build. That was kind of like just an explanation of you know, background of the coins and why we pick what we do. So now kind of to this build. So this has been running for about 12 hours. Like I said, last night we kind of worked on it a little bit and was trying to just get it up and running. We did have to switch out this is what the build started with. It started with the TB250. This is actually a Pro. This was one that was being shipped for a while, and I think they put it in a TB250 box, but it's the TB250 Pro. I should say Pro here because a lot of the newer ones do. But that board right here is the 12 GPU board. That's what we were using before. We couldn't get it to come up that night that we built it, and that was because of not plugging in these two. You have to plug in the auxiliaries on this. The problem is that once we plugged in the auxiliaries with two independent, we had two independent connections on there, the USB stopped working. So I pulled everything out. I just went with the processor, memory, no graphics cards, and the USB still don't work. So I'm thinking that we got a faulty board, and we'll be doing an RMA on this. So I mean, it happens. I mean, it was not the best first attempt at the TB250, but we do have another one coming in. It should be here within 5 days. So we will be doing a build with the TB250 12 slot board. I believe right now we're going to be targeting, we have some 1060s coming in, and we'll probably do a full 1060 12 card build with that. But we have since switched from this build to the H110 Pro. This is the 13 GPU board. This does have 12 in it right now, but this is the 13 GPU board. You kind of see here on the mini cam the different, you know, you guys have seen this probably several times in the marketing and stuff of it, but that essentially is the 12 GPU board, or 13 GPU board. That's what we're using right now. We'll get some close-ups of it here in a minute, but that is what's in this build right now. I kind of put an array of boxes there of the ones that we're using in different builds. I think we finally got this one cracked. I'm going to do more of a longer test on this one right now. We were trying to get this to work with some AMD cards, and we were having some struggles, but I think we're through those problems, so we'll cover that one in a different episode. But that's essentially the array of boards that we've done some testing with. The Z270 SLI from MSI, the Prime 270A, H11, that one's going to get the TB250 is going to get a better review once we get the new one. The Z270AR, that's our kind of go-to board right now. And then the X299A, which is the new Intel series. We've tried 6 cards on it. It seems to work, but I want to do some more deeper dive tests with it. Not that a lot of people are going to be building, you know, the i7 or i9 GPU builds. But let's digress real quick. I don't have anybody watching the chat feed, so if you guys send super chats, I'll cover those. Kind of, we'll take a midpoint. I'll cover some of those, and then I'll have a spot for question and answer. So if you're trying to ask me questions, I don't have anybody watching the chat right now today. It's a Saturday. It's super hot in our area, and the fam is out in pools and stuff. So it is just me and you guys. I wanted to do an afternoon shot. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk the giveaway. We've been talking about the giveaway, and then we'll get into this build. So I imagine you guys want free stuff. You like free stuff, and we're going to ramp it up a bit on the free stuff. So there's a lot of giveaways. I don't know if I'd almost give credit to the digital gold guys, you know, back in May starting to give away, because I think everybody, it kind of has a crypto channel started giving away stuff. So you can kind of thank them. But we are, I think you guys are going to like this giveaway. This is going to go for a week. So instead of having to be on the live stream and enter, you guys are going to watch this video, and then you're going to get the code that I'm about to give you, and then the email address, and you're going to send in some stuff. And it enters you to win the Zotac Amped Extreme. That's the best one. 1070. We're going to give one of these away now in this live stream, and on our next live stream a week from now, we'll be announcing the winner of this. This is a, pardon my French, a badass card. So this thing is like the top 1070 you can get. you can see the price on this guy is like $5.29. I think they're actually selling it for higher than that now. But this is like the best freaking 1070 there is. So I think if we were going to give a 1070 away, we wanted to make sure it was the best when it came to mining and also gaming. That's like one of the best 1070s you can possibly get. So what we're going to do is I'm going to give you a it's going to be a BBT giveaways. Let me write down the actual stuff. I'll get make sure it's the exact URL. It's BBT giveaway, not plural. I'm going to type it in the chat. bbtgiveaway@gmail.com. That is the email address. I'm going to have it in the description. So I'm going to have everything that you do in the description. So that's the email address you are going to send in your subject line of the email, and I'm going to spell it out in the description below. And this has to be perfect, guys. If it's not perfect, then you're not qualified for it. So again, this was not sponsored too, by the way. This was just us, you know, taking the super chats and the feedback that you guys give us, and just have, you know, growing the community. And that we paid for this. Nobody sent me this. This is out of BBT's budget, let's just say. But the BBT giveaways, and then in the subject you need your handle that you're in this in the chat, or any of the internet handle that you're using. So you put in the subject line. That's all I need is just your internet, your piece there, and then in the subject, or that's the subject. In the plot of the email, in the body of the email, the only word that you put in there is Zotac. So BBT giveaway, your internet handle, so I know who I'm announcing the winner to, and I'll see your email because you're obviously emailing us. And then the only thing that's in the subject, or the only thing that's in the body of the email, rather. Like if you have other stuff like signatures and stuff, get rid of it. It doesn't really matter because I'm just going to parse it out anyways. But just the word Zotac. So we're going to put that in the description. So Zotac, Z-O-T-A-C. You put that in there. This is for worldwide. I don't care where you're at, unless you're in North Korea. I'm sorry, I'm not shipping anything to North Korea. You guys still pointing missiles at us, and I don't like that. So, anywhere in the world, we love the world. BBT and mining and cryptocurrency supports the world. You're all family. So, that is the giveaway. So it's going to go an entire week. Case sensitive. It's not case sensitive. I'm going to parse it out. Just the word. So internet handle, unique email address. I'm monitoring the IPs that it's coming in at. So I get the list from that because it's a business account. So I know there's gonna be some trickies that are gonna be sending me through VPN and all that stuff. So your internet handle that you're on YouTube. So if you're watching YouTube, you need to have your internet your handle that you're using right here in chat, and then BBT giveaway is the email, and then the subject is just Zotac. So. And then any multiple IPs, I'm parsing those out. You guys are getting one entry. So, and if I see lots of the same kind of stuff, we're gonna figure it out. So your handle is what you're using in your chat. For the folks that don't understand that. So right now, as an example, Loose FX, you just asked that question. Loose FX is your handle. So this is going to run for an entire week. So next Saturday, and I'll hype it up through the week of when the live stream is going to announce the winner and all that. And then once you've won, you'll send in your address information where you need it shipped to, and we'll kind of do an unveiling and all that after. Not that I'm going to give you guys his address away. I won't do that, but just, you know, your handle that you're using. We'll make sure you're live and well in our live chat, and if right after the announcement live chat, we'll have one where you can come in and say, hey, you know, I'm real and all that. So it should be a fun giveaway. You know, it's a contribution back to the community that supports us and watches us and all that kind of stuff. So we hope you guys like it. Let's get through that. That's a valid addresses. We're gonna bring up. Oh, that's a valid address. I'm watching it flow in right now, guys. So we're up to almost 4. I don't know how we're up to that many entries, but we're up to about 75 entries already. So we're watching it come in. I got a mail server that's looking at Gmail's entries. So you guys are hitting it. That is correct, and it's working. It's working fine. All right, so we'll put that in the description. So if you're watching this video after, it'll be in the description by the time you watch this video. So let's get in. We're 20 minutes into it. We've talked the giveaway. We talked about what coin we're mining, which is Ubiq Coin. And now let's get back into this kind of build. So this thing's been running for almost 12 hours. It's about to breach the 12-hour mark. You can see that. Let's do another real check right here before we shut it down. So you can see through all the GPUs that are about 34.5 are the 1080 Ti's. Those are rolling about 34.5. The GPU 5 is a 1080 Ti also, I believe. Yes, that's the 1070. So the 1070 is running a little warmer than the rest of them. And then the GPU 7 is a 1080, non-TI, 11 gig. So that's only running 23 because we're not pushing heavy clocks to it. So just under 400 mega hash. I had it at about 409 with a little more aggressive overclocks, but it didn't look like it was going to be stable. So and then for power, we're running here. Let me switch over to the minicam. So from a power standpoint, we're using the Thermaltake 850. It's an RGB version. We got it in the description. And then we're using a T2 1600 power supply to power this entire 12 card rig right now. Now this is really pushing the power supplies kind of to the edge. And this actually will be, once the other TIs come in, this is going to be a 3 PSU event. So we can see that we have one extra slot left, and then we'll let the camera kind of focus on that. That's all that. I'm using a couple different risers types just to see if everything was fine and running, and it is. So we're using an S6 version, an S7, and an S7S. So Molex and SATA, everything working fine. And then, you know, you can kind of see that here. We'll get the top view of it. So it's an MSI Gaming X 1080 Ti, and then some EVGA 1080 Ti super clocked editions. I think it shows the super clock there. It's not the SSC, it's just the SCs. So there's 2 of those in there. And then this top row here is all Founders 1080 Ti's that are the ASUS brand. And then that guy there is the 1080, the normal 1080 Founders, which is ASUS, and then the 1070s right here. So that's kind of the build. You guys can see it from here. It's a good angle. Kind of showing the, and then this fan's just kind of setting up here just to pull some air, you know, pull some air from it. And over there, I usually have a different fan that'll be kind of like mounted, like the one that's in the back over there. We'll set this back over here and switch back to SC. So, you know, we do have like this kind of fan set up over here where we had a 6 GPU rig there, and then it's kind of just angled to give it some good airflow over it. That's kind of when I'm talking putting the fans on the rigs. Depending on your setup, you could have racks and some other stuff. It's just a matter of just pushing some extra airflow on them. Those cards actually set around 27 to 30 fan speed, and it keeps them nice and cool with having that extra fan. Now, I've seen the array of fans like CryptoMine and some other folks use. I don't like using all those because when you do the math on how much power they use, if you use like 6 to 10, 12 of those fans on like a big rig like this, I'm using less energy on a box fan. So that box fan is only pulling 27, 30 watts by itself when it's on like a low medium. It gets up to 65 watts if you just go full tilt on it, but I don't turn that on full tilt. So, you know, and when you have one of those big arrays, you're talking almost, you know, 8 to 10 watts per each one of those things. You're using more wattage. You're using 80 watts on one of those setups. So you use less wattage, and it's a lot more expensive to replace all those little fans, and there's a lot more work with getting it set up and stuff. So, I mean, to each their own. I mean, I'm not going to dig anybody's build. I'd rather use something that's quick and easy and cheap and replaceable. You can get those for about 15 bucks, and it doesn't have to look pretty. It just has to work, right? So, I mean, it's kind of I like it looking pretty, but I mean, you know, it's got to be functional. It's got to be able to keep them cool. The last thing you want to do is replace fans on your cards, you know, and you know, there's so much misconception that people are like, oh my God, you know, you miners are just crushing cards, and you know, don't buy a Miners X card. Yeah, don't buy a Miners X card if you're not properly cooling it. But you know, if you're gaming and you know in your boxed rig, the card's getting up to 85, 90 Celsius, you know, when you're gaming in a nice closed box, that's actually putting a lot more strain on that card than one of these things that are being temperature monitored and controlled. You know, well, I mean, this one's running 80 right here, but it doesn't have some proper cooling down here. What I would do is put a normal fan on the front of here, and it would drop all these temperatures down to about 62 Celsius. So now you're talking a card running full tilt, running 62 Celsius. That's actually in good shape. The card's fine, and the powering up and powering down of gaming rigs actually is a lot more strainful than these things running constant. So, I mean, there's 290 rigs. We have, you know, hell, I just pulled where is it at? I just pulled out an old rig that we had mining some other coins. I pulled one of the cards out of it. Here's this a 7850, right? This is only, what, a 1 gig card, I think? It has a 1 gigabyte card with still mining, right? 7800 series, guys. Still mining. Fan looks in great shape. The card's actually in really good shape, you know, because we take care of them, right? Miners that take care of their cards, this thing still runs like a boss. No problems at all. You know, I mean, it's not going to mine Ethereum or something that has a higher DAG file, but the thing still does mine, and it's not super efficient, but, you know, XMR and that kind of stuff, I mean, you can still, those cards are fine. So, you know, if you take care of your cards, if you look at somebody's build, if you're about to buy cards, you know, the questions I ask is like, you know, did you have proper cooling on it, or were you just using the cooling on the cards? And somebody goes, oh no, the cards stayed cool with the regular cooling. No, they didn't. Those fans had to run at least 60% or higher to keep the card cool, and I'm probably going to pass. But if somebody had like fans on them and they kept them cool and they don't look like they have tons of dust, they're probably in pretty good shape for you. So, I was just checking to make sure, looking at our time in the chat. So let's get into this kind of build now. We've been letting it run and let you guys see some different options and stuff on this. So I'm going to go ahead and shut down SimpleMining on this. So it just crossed 12 hours. And now she's shutting down. And what we'll do is, before I'll put in Windows, I'm going to boot it up. I'm going to let you look at the power that's being used. And we'll plug in the kilowatt and let you see the drain on. We'll do the 1600 first. And right now the 1600 is powering 9 of the cards. So it's got 9 VGA spots in the back with 9 rails, and it's handling 9 of the cards. It's also handling 8 of the risers, and then the Thermaltake right now is doing 4 of the risers. So we are splitting the risers across 2 power supplies, but we'll get this plugged in so you can see first what the power situation is, and then you'll see why I'm adding an additional 850 watt to this, because I really want to distribute the power and not really strain the PSUs as hard as I am right now. Now this T2 will handle, oh, we lost the camera. This T2 will handle close to 2,000 watts. I've had one of those things up to 1920, but you're not going to handle it very long. So the target for this one's more around 1,400, 1,300 if I can on the 1,600, and that's really in its good power range. All right, just setting here, this thing's at 1.3 watts. And that's just powering the some of the LED stuff. So 2 watts. Let's see if we can set this guy right here. And I'm actually going to take this fan down, power it off. And that should have gotten things a little quieter in here. And we're gonna put this down here. Got rid of that white noise that we had there. And what we're going to do is I'm doing this because I want the fans to tilt up themselves, and I want to show you just what the full power range on this thing is. So just boot up on just the 1600. So this has got the i7 and it's got the water cooler. And this thing's getting the light. Get out of the light, there we go. So it's just going through its normal, it's trying to attach to the miner. This is where Linux right now is just going through and it's looking at each card. Now this takes a little longer. If you notice in the upper right hand corner is the actual SimpleMining mining software, and it will set on this black screen for a good 15-20 seconds. So you guys just gotta let it set. This seems to be a normal activity with this board and this many cards. So this is why I like doing the live streams, because it kind of shows you guys, because that's the stuff that you kind of miss. Like if we do an episode, or CryptoMine does an episode, somebody does an episode and they fail to tell you that if you're doing something like SimpleMining, it's going to sit there for a second, and you got to let it sit there, and then it'll spin back up as after it does its parse here. So you can see the power rising right now. It's now just initialized it. You see it pop up on the screen. And there is 9 of the cards, and they're all spinning up in their fans. And 8 of the risers. So as the fans start to spin up a little more, we're gonna just probably take it right to 1600. So the cards that the 1600 is powering right now is 6 of the 1080 Ti's, and then it's also doing the 1080 and the 1070. So 6 1080 Ti founders, and then the 1080 founders, non-Ti, and then the 1070 founders. That is what that 1600 T2 is powering right now, and we're just under 1600 watts. It'll actually go a little over it after all the fans are at full tilt. But I'm trying to give you guys an understanding of what, you know, the kind of configuration and the power things. And then the T2 1600 is only doing 8 of the risers, powering 8 of the risers. We took one of them off. We had it 9 for 9 for the 9 cards it was doing, and it was just over. It add another 30 watts here, 40 watts. So it was about 1640, 1650 with that extra riser, and I wanted to keep it below its rating. So that's the 1600, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to power this back down, and I'm going to switch it over to the 850, and then let you guys see the 850. And then on the screen, I'm actually going to show, I'm going to flip the screens around to where you see, where you'll see the actual main screen, and we'll add the other camera in for you can see the mini cam. That way you can kind of see the screen as it comes up and loads SimpleMining. So let me, I think I need to add the camera source when I switch over to this one. Yep, I want to add the mini cam. We're going to add that little this replugged back in. Now I got this, there were some questions I had earlier. This is actually plugged into, so the 1600 is actually plugged into our 30 amp 240 setup. So the kilowatt works on those if people were asking questions. So I got the kilowatt plugged into an extension line that is plugged into our 30 amp connection back here. So I'm using a standard extension cord, and then this, because really when you're playing around 1600 watts, you either need a dedicated 20 amp, you're going to pop your 15 amps at those kind of rates. So just making sure you guys know what's going on there. Let's get this added to here, and then we're going to take the let's see here, this is going to be, I need to do a little adjustment here to make sure that I can get the 850 back into that connection here. So what we're going to do is plug this guy into here. Plug, which is still going into the 30 amp, and then we're going to unplug the 850 and plug it into there with the actual kilowatt, so you guys can see what the 850 is doing. Running solo today, so have to move around a lot. Plug this guy into here, and then we're going to take this back to the connect back up, and we're going to turn this on now. So turn this back off real quick. I didn't have it all the way plugged in. I actually unplugged the 850 when I plugged it back in. All right, so here we go. So the 850 is already pulling 70 watts, and it only has 3 GPUs and 4 risers plugged in. So a lot of that power is coming from the risers. And in the background, SimpleMining's booting up. You'll see it goes through this. This is another reason why I wanted to show you guys the screen. So if you have this board and you end up getting 12 GPUs, 13 GPUs on here, I wanted to show you the activity that's going on with SimpleMining as it starts to initialize and connect, and then it has to post the devices. So it's in the, you'll see these kind of spool up as it sits there, and it's going to port scan each one of those GPUs, which is right now doing just a check against them, and that's why it's spinning up a little bit of power. So right now we're at already 240 watts. It's not even mining yet. And then when this drops down, you'll see the actual it'll power down a little bit as it's not doing anything with the GPUs right now, as it starts to really get its prefetch and cache for SimpleMining to engage the miner. So we're only using 40 watts. That's what's nice about also having a meter on it, because you can kind of see like, okay, something's going on with at least power, and then now as you see it start to spin up, now it initializes and pops up. So there's your total so far, and this will go up a little higher. Which now you're seeing why I want to put 3 PSUs in here. I do not want all these running at full tilt. So while we still have 100 watts of power room, this is actually gonna, I think it gets close to 800, which is really topping out the 2 power supplies. So even at 800 and 1600, you know, you're talking at 2400 watts for this entire rig. Now these have not been power adjusted, like you know, a drop in the power. I think we can actually bring it down quite a bit. We can probably bring this down by about 20%, but I still want to put it on a 3rd power supply. Mainly because this rig could get expanded to 13, and the 13th power supply the 13th card really kind of throws it out of whack, because there's actually physically not enough connectors, because the 850 has 3 PCIe connectors, and the 1600 T2 has 9. So right there you got your 12 GPUs that they support. So a 13th GPU requires a 3rd power supply, or you got to go with a higher end. Instead of an 850, you got to go with like a 1200. You could get it done with a 1200 and go with 2 PSUs. But there it is, kind of spun up in full tilt. Let's do a check in this, because we haven't seen the hash rates. Ubiq Coin doesn't report the hash as fast as like an Ethereum reports it back. So if you hit S, it'll give you that. But there they are. So we're just under 800 watts on this with the 2nd power supply. Let's go ahead and shut that down. We'll switch back scenes here. unplug the Stream Deck. I need to get an extension cord for this Stream Deck. Let's go back to scene 1. It looks like it's not one to... Okay, now the Stream Deck doesn't feel like working. I think I've unplugged it too many times. There we go. So, see if it figures its life out. So let's go ahead and plug in Windows and show you guys that. Then we can kind of go into some settings and stuff and see what we can get out of it. I was kind of showing you guys some basic... if you guys follow us on Twitter, we do send out some kind of pre-sneak peeks at like performance and speed. I had 8 GPUs connected in there in Windows. Actually, we had added a couple to the side of this and actually had 14 plugged in. 14 GPUs plugged in, and actually got Windows to actually recognize them. But it wouldn't do anything else. Like, it wouldn't hash, it couldn't initialize miners, it kept rebooting and stuff. So we did tweet a picture of that. I pulled the 1080 Ti's, so we have a couple 1080 Ti's in our render box, the one that's doing the actual machine. Otherwise I would have them right here. But we pulled pretty much all the 1080 Ti's I had around to make it up to where we had 13 1080 Ti's and one 1070 to get 14, as putting the PCIe expansion slot on the ASROCK board, and got it to actually kind of come up and get drivers set. It took a lot of just stair-stepping each GPU in there, letting it reboot, adding and removing. It was more pseudoscience than science to try to get it to work. But in the end, it just, even though Windows applied all 14 GPUs of all the same type, so it kind of broke through that myth of that you couldn't do more than 8 GPUs in Windows. You actually could, but it really wasn't doing anything. So the fact that Windows set it up is fine, but the fact that I couldn't mine with it is kind of a moot point. So let's plug that in. We just got the drive plug back in. I'm going to unplug SimpleMining. Let's boot this up. And I'll show, I don't know what state it's going to be in right now. I'm leaving all the GPUs plugged in right now. We'll just take a look at it, but we'll probably end up having to back some of them out. But I just got the drive plugged in right now. Let's let Windows come up and see what state it's in, because I've since the last time I had Windows in there, I had other 1080 Ti's in there, so we can kind of go on this little adventure together. Maybe. Slide this over, because now this is going to be, oh, there it comes. Windows popped up. So that's all 12 GPUs plugged in. Let's see what we have from Windows. Let's go, where's my Stream Deck at? Put that back over. Is this thing working again? I broke my Stream Deck. So it looks like it did not set up the 1070. That's the 1070 right there. But no exclamation points. We're going to do this. We're going to browse. We're going to pick from the list. Yes, it's seeing the 1070. I'm going to uninstall that, which may break all these. I'm gonna let it rescan. And we didn't even want to uninstall it. We'll see if I like what Windows manual naming of my desktop was like all sixes. What the heck? What's up with that? So we'll sit there and try to let that, do that for a second. Now there's a good chance I'm gonna have to pull a couple of these guys. I do want to show you at least 8 of them running, and we'll run some tests with like Zcash and some of the other miners if we can only get 8 going right now, maybe 9. But I think I still need to do some work with this. I wanted to show kind of the build, at least functioning in SimpleMining. I think Windows still needs a lot of work. Now technically this build was going to do XMR because of the i7, and I was planning to do burst, but evidently burst blew up. So I haven't really looked into it. We've been so heads down trying to get this built that I haven't paid attention really to what's going on. But evidently burst had all kinds of had an attack on the network or something, and it's just not good things have happened. So we're probably going to take a pause on burst with that 4 terabyte hard drive setup, and we'll probably just do storage coin and just have a shared storage array to storage with that, and then looking at the XMR for the CPU, and then we'll do Ubiq Coin with probably library credits for the others. And this thing does not look like it's doing anything. Take a look at task manager. So it's local service host. Do all this down here since. So yeah, it's the i7. Not using much memory right now. I've got 16 gigs in there, but Windows Update's actually turned off. In this task. We're just killing that task because it wasn't really stopping it. And I don't know what this is working on because Windows Update's supposed to be turned off. I usually turn off, so some of the people are asking, like, how do we get this to work? The first thing we did is built Windows, didn't have any GPUs turned on, and then I turned off Windows Update. Services, because I wanted to control everything that Windows was doing. And I didn't want it going out and just updating stuff that I don't want it to update. And then I manually installed drivers on each card that I added. Windows installer, Windows update is stopped. Okay, so it should be disabled and stopped. I still don't know what localhost system host is doing. It's doing something, but I don't care. I'm gonna shut this back down. I'm gonna pull some GPUs and let's do some testing with some of them, and then we'll wrap this up and at least then the build portion of this, and then we can get into some fixes for the MultiMiner. 5.4 will be coming out later today. I'm going to pull, let's see here, the 1070. Where's the 1080? 1080, regular 1080. Regular 1080 is going to go bye-bye. I like how Windows thinks that the regular 1080 was a 1080 Ti because it's a 1080 with the 11 gig, and it misreports it. And then let's look at the 1070 cable. Where are you at? There you are. And we'll just take one of the, shifting everything down, and then we'll just take one of the 1080 Ti's out. All right, let's boot that up. I'm gonna look at your guys' comments right now and any super chats. Why this is rebooting. MX99, thanks for the super chat, buddy. 10 bucks. Do you recommend any baseline power or clock speed settings in the MSI Afterburner for the 1080, 1080 Ti, or 1070? I have two 1080 Ti's, one's a 1080 SC, and then two 1070s. So the 1070, you need to separately set the settings on those, mainly because the 1070 you can run at 60% power, and down, if you're doing like a Ethereum based coin, you don't need a lot of the GPU, so you can take that to a -100. And then on the 1070, if it can handle it, take it to at least 650 on the memory to 700 and see if it's stable. On the 1080 SC, you want to go as high as you can on the memory, you know, 800, 700, somewhere around there. You're only going to get about 24 to 25 max mega hash on a Ethereum based coin. And then the 1080 Ti's, those seem to only go about 700 max, maybe 800 stable on the memory, and those need a little more power. So the 1080 and the 1070, you can drop the power down to about 60%. The 1080 Ti's, every time I drop power on those, they just don't work. They crash. They don't. It's not real super stable. So I usually keep them at 100 to 110 on power. They're very power hungry, and then set those to also 700, 650, somewhere around there. Well, let's take a look and see. Oh, it's acting. It looks like Windows is still trying to figure its life out and set up something because it's kind of jumpy. Two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't know how it's seeing 9. Yeah, there's 9 in there. I was going to take it to 8, but it's seeing 9. See if that part opens up. Still getting the local service host. It is not opening up Afterburner. It's still doing some system stuff. That's Afterburner trying to fire up and crashing. And I think it's the 9th one. I'm gonna pull one more. We're gonna get 8 working, and then we'll add a 9th. Yes, you can dual mine with Ubiq Coin on that question. The question from Ark, can you the MultiMiner do Ubiq and dual mine? Yes. I'm looking at the chat, so if you guys have some questions while we're waiting for this to come up. Alright, so Windows isn't tripping on itself anymore. There's all the 1080 Ti's. Server's host super fetch. Let's see if we can get Afterburner open. It is. Let's take this to 650. We're going to do 105 power. And on the first one, we're going to do a minus 100 on the clock. We're going to apply that. MultiMiner's up. And let's take a look at number 33, which is Ubiq. How's that screen resolution? You guys want me to bump up the screen resolution? Oh. Failed. Boom. We need to do a few things to fix this. I need to do 2 things to get that fixed, so we're going to fix that real quick. So we'll go through on getting that addressed. We need to remove all those old devices, and we need to make sure there's a few updates done. Your opinion on mining BTC? Steer clear unless you got some serious capital, because any of the machines that people are claiming you can buy, you're not going to compete with the big boys on that, unfortunately. That ship is long sailed. So first things first, we're going to go into Device Manager. We're going to go under this, and we're going to look at any hidden devices, and we're going to remove all these. Uninstall. I do not want any old hardware IDs in there. Don't know why it's not wanting to get rid of this one. Or this one. But it might be one of our culprits. We may have to reboot. And then we're going to mute this. And we need to grab something off I posted on one of my older videos. It was right here, Microsoft for distribution, download, x64 if you're running 64-bit. And then we'll give this a quick reboot. Agent Doc, nice. You're so good you use yourself as a resource. No, I like actually posting, if I'm using it, I'd rather have it as part of our video out there, guys. That way, you know that, if I've put some kind of new thing out there, or if it's some kind of dependency, I like to include it as the video description. And it kind of drives me to remember to go out there and put it on one of the video descriptions. So, that way you know it's a one-stop shop and you know where to go get it. And you can always rewatch the video and see. We're going to leave these in stock clocks right now. I just want to see if we fix that issue. All right, so if folks didn't understand what I just did there, so if you've had this issue, and I've seen a few people post about it, where they've had it go out and it actually has an issue where it's saying like, cannot find GPU or whatever, DAG source issue, GPU 15, you know, it gives you like a code 15, I think, on it. What that is it's getting confused. Like it's a hardware ID mapping versus the software when it's going out there to hit the GPU ID sources. And when the miner starts to go out there and it's pointing to device ID, it's seeing kind of a, like if you've uninstalled and reinstalled and it has a whole bunch of unknown devices out there, it actually can get confused sometimes, I've seen, and then it just starts airing out. So this is kind of, I guess, your pro tip of the day, if that's a thing. Arik with the $10 super chat. Does the MultiMiner have an option to dual mine Libry and Ubiq? What coins would you suggest towards ETH so high difficulty if you have one rig with 6 1080s or 1060s? It does not have it built in right now, but we're putting out version 5.4 today, and I will make a note to add in for that awesome super chat. I will add in just for you Ubiq and Library. Add in Ubiq and Library. So I don't know if anybody's had that issue that we were just having with this, where you got GPU failures like that, but that's how you fix it. So the base stock on all these, we're getting 259 mega hash. We'll see what we can get the 8-card rig up to here. And then what I'm going to do is we're going to play with this with a few coins, and then I'm going to add a 9th GPU and see if we can get that part working. Because I think we can get at least 9. Lose 600. Leave the core for right now, and then we'll take a temperature check too. Let's go 110. We're going to go back to Ubiq Coin. This is number 33. And here, let me show you guys a trick here. So if you're wanting to make this auto start on startup, well, first off, you got to get to the startup folder, which is under Windows, your users. This one's big green. You can come in here under View, Options, View, again, Show Hidden Files and Folders, Apply. That'll let you see the apps data directory. Then Roaming. Then Microsoft. Then Windows. Then Start Menu. And Programs. And then Startup. That's a hell of a thing. Look, Users. Whatever your account is, app data, roaming, Microsoft, Windows, start menu, programs, startup. Right? Well, if you guys went in here to like MultiMiner, and let's say you're always choosing an option, like let's say 33 is what I'm choosing right now just to mine Ubiq Coin. You can actually take this bat file that starts it, you can copy it over here, create a shortcut, and then edit this shortcut. To get to the end of this, just edit it, and then hit a space, and then 33. If you put the code in, like that, and if you notice, I'm going to go ahead and run this since we haven't restarted it. But if I run this, it automatically selected 33. And then each time the machine starts up, like if you have this like weird issue with your rig where randomly it restarts, but by and large it runs like 8 hours at a time, and you're just like, you know what, I just have to re-click it. That will allow you to kind of automate that. So we're letting this run right now. It's got the it's got a little faster setup going right now. So we're almost at 300 mega hash. So 36. This is on 8 cards. We'll look at the. We just got another super chat. Yeah, Fakta. That's a yeah. Yes, you could do WinKR and then startup shell. That's fast too. It's good to know the background though too. There's my kid is screaming her mom and I have to present, but I'll catch the rewind. Thank you for keep what you're doing. Thanks, Johnny Bravo. Take care of those kids. Asa Dusman, it is on GitHub. If you look at our previous video, and I'll put it on here tonight on this video, or today on this video, there is a GitHub address for this script. So, and it includes a Linux version. We actually had kind of snuck it in there, but there is a Linux shell script right now that's included with all the miners and all the stuff that you need out there on that GitHub address. So, we'll on the previous video, it actually, and actually I think it's in the description here. We have, let me look, I added it to it. No, it's not on the bottom of this description. I will add the GitHub address out there. There is a GitHub. You can commit to it. You can add and look at it. We're going to put out a version 5.4 tonight, which has more. We fixed some of the issues with some of the mining on AMD cards for like Feathercoin and stuff like that. We added about 6 or 7 more pools that people wanted out there for, and corrected a few other things with it. So 5.4 is out there. We're working on like a 6.0 update, which will add color to just make things a little more distinguishing. And then some auto restart features and a few other things in there. But this thing's running Ubiq like a boss, almost 293. Got a couple GPUs pretty hot right now though. We got one at 85, one at 83. I'm gonna pull that out there because I don't want that to restart up on a startup. Yeah, there we go. I'm going to do an edit here because we're going to check some other coins that I'm going to need some GPU speed on. The power is going to be a lot of the same. If people want to know the power is going to be really close to the same that it was on SimpleMining. Where we're at about 750 on the 850 watt power, and then we're right at 1600 on the 1600. So we're gonna want some core clock here for the. It might have actually kind of froze the OS up a little. When you're running an overclock on these and you're running in Windows, when you go to mess around with changing the clocks or shutting down the miner, sometimes you'll get it to where it'll just not want to play ball. I just usually restart it because I want a fresh start of the OS. Getting Windows ready. I like also how Windows still does updates and I tell it not to. Nope, I'm not gonna let it update. I don't even know what it's doing. So the start of this is that kind of stuff, the reason why people don't like Microsoft, and you know, why I have a problem. Fresh install, updates turned off, service stopped, and it still updates. I'm telling you, Microsoft, if we say no, we mean no. Let this come back up. Take this to 110. At about 122, and we'll let this go to sure 602. We're going to do let's do some Zcash next. Number 20, which is the, oh, missing a dependency, which I thought we already installed. That should have been a .NET install. Yeah, I thought we had that taken care of, but hold on. This should have taken care of that. Or that's what the Windows update's trying to fix. Digibyte. We'll come back and fix that. So it looks like those are doing pretty decent. $120. This whole rig right now is almost 1,000 mega hash for Digibyte. It's like the EVGA and the ASUS cards, even though ones are founders and the other ones, they're all about the same. I've seen one of the comments, there should be a BBT coin. I told you guys, if the only way I'd ever participate in actually putting a name on a coin is if we were bringing a feature to you guys. I have developers looking at it to see if there is something, but the way we would work it, guys, wouldn't be through, like, not that I'm against any of the ICOs. I think it's a great way to raise capital, but the same way I like Ubiq Coin came out, it wasn't an ICO. there was no pre-mine. I like that idea. I like a proof of work coin that just starts and there's no pre-mine. So no pre-mine, no ICO, and it allows, you know, I like that concept. So that's another thing that attracts us to Ubiq Coin. You know, no pre-mine and no ICO. It was just, here's the proof of work and get it done. So this uses a little less energy because on the 850, we're only using a handful of cards, so it's a kind of a moot point. The 850 is only showing 650 watts of power usage, but we're down a couple cards. So it looks like that's about almost one of those are about 1,000. Not 612. I'm thinking servers. Five, 4.5 should be a part of this build. Yeah, that's already part of that, so it's not that. Don't know why that's not. Let's bring this back up. Well, chain coin. See what 8 of these will do. Oh, people are talking about Dibics. Give it a restart. After each one of those overclocks, it keeps not wanting to play ball, so we're gonna let it restart one more time. Expanse has been around for a long time. I haven't done a lot of research with Expanse though. I mean, it's been out there. I think Expanse was one of the very first Ethereum forks. But I haven't done a ton of research on this stuff. I've been really researching out Ubiq Coin. That's why I'm really putting a lot of hash power towards them. And I think our hold pool, which is part of our community, That's part of the folks that are in our Discord run the hold pool. So HODL pool, which is I think it's the second largest Ubiq Coin now, our mining pool. It actually is beating out Sexy Pool. We might throw some hash over to Expanse this week. We'll see. Extra, thanks for that. You need any questions? Let us know. Yeah, Stephen Fu says it's the first fork. I think it was the first fork. I think when it first came out, I did a little bit of research on it, and the name attracting just because I don't know if you guys have watched the Expanse TV show, but it's actually pretty good if you're into sci-fi. It's actually one of the best sci-fi episode based sci-fi things out there. I mean, at least the new stuff. It's actually really good. It's not like B actors or anything like that. It's really good. I highly recommend. But that's the TV show, not necessarily the coin. Yeah, I encourage everybody to go out there and do their research. Go out there and look at what like Ubiq does, what Expanse does, what all these other alternate currencies are. I mean, you're going to have a lot of haters out there right now, especially like, oh, mining's dead, we're going to get cheap GPUs and all this other crap. But guys, understand that that was what was being said after March of 2016. When folks, March 2016 was a big run-up of Ethereum then, when it went to like $12. And a lot of people bought a lot of hardware. Now, the difficulty was a lot less. I mean, you would get, in March of 2016, you'd get about almost 90 coins a month on a full rig for Ethereum. Every, 2 days, 3 days, you'd get, 5 Ethereum. You get, if you're doing, an ETH pool. But it was only worth, $6, $8. So you're bringing in maybe 900 a month, which was still pretty good. And then when the difficulty shot up, and mining was still predicated on, driving the difficulty up, it went to $6 from $12, and it wasn't super profitable. You're maybe making 300 a month on it, and if that, and you're paying a lot more power, and it came into the summer months, and the summer months in the US is very hot, and it's expensive to AC, and people just got kind of disenchanted because the price is sitting around $6 to $8. You're paying a lot for power, paying a lot for air conditioning, but the people that stuck in it and kept mining, in a video 3 months ago, we did a video of just doing a couple of use cases for people that we had helped here locally to get a couple of machines, and they just kept them running. They paid the money, they paid the power, and that use case that I go through is a real life example, where they went out, they spent $5,000, bought 2 machines for $2,500 a piece, the 390s, which use 1,600 watt power supplies. They're talking 3,200 watts of power per month. The machines hash, and at the end of the term, essentially from March of 16 through December of this last year, December of 2016, when the price was still low, that was one of its lowest periods. Dash, everything was way low in December, and it was like a new year. I mean, literally as the new year came, everything started to rise crazily. But I remember talking to them in December, because around Christmas time, you get a lot of folks that have time off, and you have time to collaborate with friends and family, and you start talking holy crap, man, I've spent a lot of money on this, and I might have that one use case. They had almost 450 Ethereum, and they're doing the math. They're times 6. I haven't made my money back, and the equipment's 9 months old now, and they barely made their money back, but not made up for the power. So they were essentially operating at a loss. But the stuff kept pressing, and I said, just don't sell it if you can. Don't sell it. Don't sell it. Don't sell it. Because we believe in the coin. We believe in the functionality of what's there. It's the same thing I believe in Ubiq. I like the idea of a enterprise class system. I like the idea of a platform that takes in consideration of before they deploy some of their features. with a enterprise mind and set, because that's where you have a lot of enterprises, you have a lot of places doing, you know, when you see all the news that pops up about Microsoft or somebody spinning up their own Ethereum coin, they're doing that in a private standpoint, they're doing that in like the Microsoft Azure cloud, but prime time is putting it on a public standpoint, because they're going to want to interact with other supply chains, other people in general. And if you have an established coin, an established network, let's take the coin out of it for right now. You have an established network that has good security, has a strong proof of work system. That in itself offers the initial platform, and then once they put stuff on that platform, they're going to need the currency, because that's what powers the smart contracts. So I look at it as like, you know, Ubiq something like $1. If with a full rig like this, you can earn, you know, several units over a period of time. You know, earn yourself 100, 200 of those coins, mine it for 3-4 months, and then if that does take a lot of critical mass, or even gets its first major use case, which actually it actually has something on its public chain right now. There is some news where a couple companies have put out stuff on Ubiq, but it gets its first major platform, you know, contributor with putting something on that network, then that's, you know, naturally going to raise the price on the coin and raise confidence in the network. So, you know, this is the time, you know, where people say hindsight is 20/20, right? And I'm paraphrasing because I've heard this a few times from a few different speakers, but hindsight's 20/20. Everybody's like, oh my God, it totally makes sense that that coin would have done whatever, and man, if I would have just bought in, or if I would have just been mining that, you know, it's easy to think of what happened in the past. The foresight's the hard part, right? 'Cause nobody knows. But the only thing you can do is take hedged risk on pointing your hash power to something like that, and understanding of what is there value in it in the long term. Is there going to be a purpose, and can a network, can a company leverage that? And somebody that comes in with a company mindset first, to give them a platform on a global public scale, they don't need to go make their own. It's proven, it has a background to it. So that's one of the drivers for Ubiq, and I'm kind of really selling up Ubiq, but I'm just telling you what the research we've done with it, and the reason why I like it, and the reason why I'm mining it is also because you can get a lot more units right now of that. So we're putting our hash power to it, and you know, there's several other currencies out there that you can put hash power to. You know, we're going to take a good look at Expanse this week. I'm going to look back in to see what Feathercoin's doing. Also, we included it into this list, you know, to include, and the MultiMiner, we're adding a few more other currencies out there that people have asked for. So we're going to put that in there too and take a look. So let's do, let's take a look at, now that this has been rebooted. I'm assuming Hush is going to have the same problem because I'm going to need the dependency. All right, so let's see. I usually don't have this error, but this is a fresh install, and it's usually because I have everything installed ahead of time. This should have got installed with. It's Microsoft Visual Basic Runtime. And that runtime that I installed earlier should have fixed that, but we're going to go back to here. I don't want the full Visual Studio. I just need it's already installed. I'm just going to edit that and find out what's going on, why that's not pointed to the right pointer. Library. Let's check library why that's doing its thing. Oops. Library coin 26. So I do not think we had this overclocked either, so we're going to overclock this in a second. So this thing is getting close to 4,000 mega hash with not being overclocked. With library, we're going to take this back up. We'll leave this up. 27. Oh, it's AMD only. It wasn't 27. It was 26 for Nvidia. The memory doesn't really affect library, it looks like. Can take the core up a little bit though. Still looks like about 37. We'll let that run for a second. We'll put some timestamps in this video too, since I kind of jumped around a little bit. and see how that thing's running. Looks like we're getting pretty warm because the not having that extra fan. 83 Celsius is really kind of pushing it. Slowed it down a little bit by clicking that through. Let's check some Feathercoin. We'll take this up a little bit here. Almost 11 mega hash. That's a pretty fast Feathercoin rig. Yeah, Miss BBT's back. So 11 mega hash with Feathercoin. I'm backing these down, guys, before I shut down the miner, just because when I was not doing that, it was killing the miner, or it was killing the OS. So that's why I keep changing it and backing it down. Let's check some chain coin on this. That might have died when it went to set those. Yep. Chaincoin didn't like that overclock. We'll start with Chaincoin. Yeah, 86 Celsius is not healthy. I'd have a fan on these. That's why there was a fan on it earlier, and they were saying in the 70s Celsius. It was minus the one that was having about 80 Celsius, which was down here. And what we'll do is here, let's switch to the mini. Yeah, switch to the mini. Can you get rid of that other? There you go. So, I mean, they're cooling down now because it's rebooting. And you guys can see it really. how that comes through with the screen. But I can really see
Pull
it.
back a little bit.
50.
It helps it focus better.
50s and 60s.
Too low.
It looks like it blends that picture, so they can't see it as sharp as I can. All right, you can switch back. Oh, Windows decided to do an update in the midst of that. Will Windows do that? Do we use server PSUs? No, we have not with actual GPU builds. They are the folks that have I've looked at videos and stuff that use the server GPUs. They seem to do fine. A lot of the server GPUs, which are like platinum grade and do 1200 plus watts, have very good capacitors, and they're made for the long haul. They're actually really good for GPU mining. Most of them usually go for just like if you're using like an Antminer or any of those things, you'll see that kind of you know, industrial rugged look with one of those setups. I mean, if you get a good deal on them, I guess that's fine. It is super purpose built for the mining. Then part of the whole thing with us has been always the hedge that I can put these in gaming machines or wherever else as the technology gets recycled or changed over. I can take that power supply, put it in a gaming rig. Actually, almost all the gaming rigs and stuff we have down here, we have 9 gaming rigs, actually a 10th one if I can get more table space, and all those are just like have the older equipment that we've moved out of mining. If I had, like, I couldn't get cards and I had to mix a rig, when I could get the other cards in, I would take the extra. So like this 1080 Ti, which I have one of the Gaming X 1080 Ti's, this MSI, this will actually go into a gaming rig. The 2 GTX 1080 Ti EVGA superclocks actually go into a gaming rig because I only have a couple of those. So you know, we'll use a power supply. Like if I switch out power supplies, this 875 or this 850 watt power supply, if we put in an EVGA one, because when an EVGA P2 850 comes in, I want it to match the other the 1600 watt EVGA. So I'll put this 875 into it, or this, I keep saying 875 because Thermaltake is making the 75, like the 1475 series. I'll take this 850 and put it in a gaming rig. So that's why I don't get around into using like server PSUs and stuff like that, just because then it is truly a purpose built for like a mining rig. Okay, Visual Studio picked up where it left off. So I was installing this for other testing reasons, but it should also fix, we're gonna see. Yep, Visual Studio fixed that. This is Hush with no overclocks. Let's see what this thing ends up putting out. Getting a lot of share accepts. We'll do Zcash too. So 54.74. Let's do And again, I'll do the time strips for this video today and show when we test certain coins and stuff. That should help you guys find the data if you're not searching around. Let's do 650 at 4 o'clock. 122. Let's see if this thing can handle some Zcash. 20 at those rates. Miner has stopped working. Might have been too aggressive on the clocks. We'll take the clocks down a little bit. We'll take them down a little bit. I'm going to take the GPU down to, let's say, 90 megahertz over, and then we'll take the memory to 600. I think I have one card in here that's my one that doesn't like to overclock, because when I was building this earlier, I did 4 and then I did 4 to get 8, and the first 4 I could clock to almost 1,000 megahertz and it wouldn't crash. The next 4 I added, then I started having a problem. So it's really it's that process of elimination, and it takes time, guys, when you guys are doing mining rigs, to find the one card or the one culprit that just doesn't like the settings. It takes time to find, and then you'll find the fine tuning is probably on its own episode, but going into each card individually and not linking all of them, doing like what we're doing right now, we're just doing a linked push across the cards. You could go in here and you could individually, you could unlock the linkage here, and not right here, this button right here, if you don't synchronize them, you could go to each GPU and set them. So if you find the one that's having the problem, you can set that one at 600 and then set the other ones to 1,000. And that's really kind of streamlining your build. Right now, just for the essence of time, we're just going to take this to 600. And we could actually go through, I mean, I could do a lot with this rig to show you guys that process. And really maximizing the potential of the rig. And we're going to turn this off of auto. We're going to bring these guys to 70. That's a little loud. Let's do it at 60. There we go. We'll let theirs set right there. And we're going to do Zcash, number 20. And see if 90 and 600 will do it. Let's see what we can get out of 8 of them. So almost 6,000 souls. We should be able to get 6,000 souls out of this machine. If we press it up a little more. Got one that's at 80. Give him some more fan speed. I got a temperature throttle if I don't cool them down here. GPU 6 is just... Yeah, if people want to know which one GPU 6 is, it's the MSI Gaming. So that shows you the cooling differences between the Founders and something like a Gaming X. It's sitting at 56 Celsius right now, and the other ones are struggling to keep under 80. Nope, that was too much. I bumped it to 144 and I just killed it. So I'll reboot it. So about 120, 125 seems to be the limit on a lot of these 1080 Ti's. You start getting to 130s, 140s, it starts popping the driver. Let it calm down. All right, let's switch this back. We're at just over 2 hours. I'll do some questions, guys. We'll kind of close out with questions, and we'll get into once these other. We're going to be redoing another video of this once the other GPUs come in, guys. When I have all the same GPU, and we'll do more of a. We'll have it already built. We'll make sure that it's working with SimpleMining, and then we also have an Ubuntu build that we're working on with all the same. We actually have it as part of our MultiMiner. It's the Linux version, to where we can go in there and do other coins with on the Linux side. So if we can't get it working in Windows with all the 12 GPUs that are going to be in here for the 1080 Ti's, we'll at least do it from Linux, and you'll get to see those other coins working and doing their thing. And that includes like the CPU coin and stuff like that. So I got the team working on that to where we can have multiple things going on that Linux machine at the same time, since we're not having much success getting more than 8 GPUs working consistently of the same type in Windows. Let's just say that. You built an oven. Yes, this is quite the oven. For the folks that haven't seen, see if my Stream Deck works. Plug this and plug it back in. Make sure the Stream Deck's up. I just need to have this as focus. Yeah, it should be working. Let's get the mini cam here. Okay. Go to scene 3. And let you guys take it. For the folks that hadn't seen this, we'll kind of do a real quick walk around of it with the rig here. So 1080 Ti is up top. The Gaming X 1080 Ti, which I mean it's a lot the same as normal Gaming X. It's just a little thicker than like the 580s, and that's got two of the 8 pins. This is one of the reasons why people ask me why I use the Thermaltake power supplies. Here's one of the cool features of the Thermaltake power supply. When on the double cables that it has, it gives you 2 8 pins. Where the EVGAs give you a 6 and an 8 pin. So 2 8 pins. How sweet's that? So that's kind of nice when you're in a situation where you got a lot of double 8 pins. You can get their 1475. We'll link it in the description. Their 1475 comes with, I believe, 6 of those. So 6 of the double 8s. And that is that's super convenient when you have one of those GPUs that have 2 8 pins. And then, you know, like the standard EVGA ones have the 8 and the 6. So you can kind of see the build here. You know, sheet screws. And this is kind of a camo build. This is supposed to be like that. I mean, we kind of did like a spray green of the case, but made sure that it had that kind of camo look to it. And then I bring this over here, and you can kind of see the water cooler. Man, that lighting is just fantastic. There we go. So the water cooler, we just flipped another one of these around and then pre-drilled the holes to go and mount the water cooler right there. So that's the water cooler for the i7 that's in here, which the ultimate goal was to get this to do also XMR mining. So once we get that all kind of set up with Windows, then we'll take we'll do a video that shows the XMR mining. And right now it's a cable mess. It needs to be zip tied up, but the Pro BTC in there. This is the back side of the cards, obviously. Kind of gives you a kind of a basic rundown of what the case looks like and the build. It's amazingly heavy. I mean, I don't know the exact weight on it, but it is not light. I mean, you're talking 12 GPUs, and GPUs are heavy. And then this thing will ultimately have 3 power supplies in it. So, yeah. Going to be ridiculous. Just say that. What up? So let's get this. I had the Stream Deck working for a minute. Let's get this back over to scene 1. And we'll uncheck this other one so you guys don't have to look at a black screen there. So, again, for the folks that had not seen earlier of this video, I'm going to kind of close out this one. We're going to take some questions. We're going to end it at 2:30. At the 2 hours and 30 minutes time. So for the folks that did not catch the beginning of this is what's getting given away for the BBT giveaway. So we'll have in the description how you enter this, but essentially you're going to go to a BBT giveaway. You're going to put your handle name, which is what your screen username is for for what you're using on YouTube in the subject, and you're going to type Zotac in the body of the email, and you send it to that address. We will have it in the description, so don't freak out, but we are going to be giving away the best 1070 on the market, which is the Zotac Amped Extreme Edition. This is the top one. So we're talking the $529 1070. So this is like the best 1070 out there. Like, this thing holds 1,000 overclock all day long. It is a beast, and that is, and yes, it's going to be worldwide. So everywhere besides North Korea, sorry, you guys try to bomb us and do stuff to us. So we can't ship it there, but it is, we love our worldwide brethren, and we will ship that out to anybody out there. So everybody's fair to enter. We are looking at IPs of submissions, so don't try to like send me 100 times with a different handle. And we want to make sure it's a valid YouTube account. So one time, guys, anybody that sits there and sends me multiple entries, if I see the ID, I'm just taking all of them out. So shoot me one. If you've already done it a couple times and you didn't hear me say that the first time, I have time and date stamps. So if it's before I just said that, you're still good. But any after that and after this live stream, don't send hundreds of entries because we were looking at that. So it's your valid email address. We'll put in there it's bbtgiveaway at gmail.com. The subject is your handle that you're using in YouTube, which is what your chat normal is, or your YouTube name that you have a registered account. It has to be an established YouTube account, guys. I mean, I'm gonna look at established things. So if you made like 100 of them in the next hour and it's late July, you're not eligible. So I want regular YouTube subscribers that have had older accounts. So we're parsing all that. So one entry, BBT giveaway email, subject is your handle, your YouTube name, and the body of the email, the very first thing. If you put anything above it like, hey, thanks man, whatever, the parse not going to read it. So just in the upper left hand corner when you start to type an email, that should just say Zotac. And we'll have it in the description. It's right there, Zotac. And then it will be open for an entire week. Okay, so next Saturday we'll have a live stream, we'll pick a winner, and then I'll work with the folks after that. So Zotac did not sponsor that. Nobody sponsored us. This is us giving back to the community. You guys give us all some super chats and you know, are subscribing. You guys have been hitting our affiliate links below, which helps us too. This is our way to say thanks back to you guys and have a chance at winning an awesome 1070. And you know, hopefully a lot of you guys enter into it. So let's take some questions and then we'll wrap it up. And if there's any super chats I missed, I'll check. John Smith, I have one rig that boots to Windows automatically repair every time on repair. It does not fix. Any ideas? John Smith, send us an email at bitbytripping@gmail.com and I'll give you a punch list of things to do to get it to stop doing that. There's a few things you need to do in Windows to stop having it try to auto repair. So send me an email at bitbytripping@gmail.com and we'll take care of that. Let's see here. Johnny Bravo already answered that question. BBT, how do you get your part? Damn, Amazon is always running out. It's we try to get them from literally everywhere. The only affiliate stuff that we have is with Amazon. I tried to get Newegg, and Newegg wouldn't give us an affiliate, believe it or not. And I'm like, I'm probably contributing to hundreds of thousands of dollars per sell of sales to Newegg, and they won't give us an affiliate. So I have no idea. It's what it is. But if you can go out to Newegg and find some. And then local stores like Fry's and Microcenter, if you have them as a kind of a last-ditch notice, it's just, you know, Microcenter only lets you take so many cards now and lets you take so many of everything now. Like we can't buy multiple processors or anything. So we're kind of not going back to Microcenter for a little bit because their policies right now, until they reverse some of their policies, I think I'm going to kind of boycott them. So their whole like buy one GPU or two GPUs and the third one is 10,000 is just like insulting. So I would say Amazon, a lot of the online stuff, Fry's, we've been shopping online at Fry's and having stuff shipped from Fry's. Yeah, Mark Adams, that's kind of our experience with Microcenter. My last experience at Microcenter was horrible. And I've had really good Microcenter experiences, but it's essentially to the point now that, you know, I have stuff in my cart, and, you know, the management there, at least the one in St. Louis, like pulls stuff out of our cart. Like we can't, like they're like, no, you can only take two. And then they look at my history of purchasing, and then they told us we couldn't buy anything. So that's just kind of like, it's now to a point to where I'm just not going to Microcenter, which, I mean, it's not that big of a deal, I guess, to them. But, you know, if other people are having that same experience to where you're in there, you've spent a lot of money with them, and now they're just like, no, you can't buy anything here. I mean, it's borderline discrimination, but, you know, I'm not going to press that kind of issue. I'll shop somewhere else. So it sucks because I really like Microcenter, but yeah, the last few weeks have been not very nice experiences there, and it's kind of a far drive for us. So we're just doing a lot of online shopping now with stuff. So yeah, I'm trying to support the brick and mortar, but we've had not some good experiences there lately. It probably in some way is kind of, I don't know if it's illegal. I mean, they have the right as a store to make a decision. But I mean, I don't know. The last one we were in there, it was just kind of like, no, they look at our purchase history and they say, no, you've already bought enough here. You can't buy any more. So that's kind of like, really? I don't know. So the question is, BBT, the ASROCK H110 13 GPU motherboard, what is best to use, Windows, Linux, and what to mine? If you're just going to be doing mining right now, I'm really liking the SimpleMining because it works with the 13, or at least works with the 12. I'll add a 13 card in here and then validate that 13 is working fine, but I have not much doubt that it will work fine. You guys saw at the beginning of this video and through our Twitter and stuff that for 12 hours that thing was running 12 cards no problem on Linux. So I would stick with Linux on this board. I'm looking at some of your guys' questions. Richard Torelli, let's see here. Did you have difficulty with 12 GPUs, the Celeron Linux? I'm buying parts today. Microcenter is giving me the same shit. Yes. What I would recommend on the 12 GPUs, so from my experience so far, is that when you add more than 6 1080 Ti's on a Celeron, it seems to have some issues. I would recommend at least going to the i3 7100. It's not much more. It's about $50 in the grand scheme of things, and you're going to like to have that more performance anyways. The i7 has been miraculous. It's just too damn expensive to put in a mining rig. Unless you're going to do like some XMR and go long on XMR, because it's still going to take you a while to earn any XMR, even with a single i7. I would say the i3 7100 on the 1151 boards is kind of the good medium. If you can find those, I think we have them listed right now for on our affiliate. I think they're $114. If you can get them for $114, it's worth the extra purchase. Just especially if you're going to do any kind of dual mining or even a triple mine type of situation, just to have that additional cycle speed to just speed up your operations. There's a distinct difference in the speed, including in Linux, between the Celeron and the i3 7100. So it's pretty significant in speed-wise difference. And it seems to handle all the GPUs fine. But, I mean, needing like an i5 or i7, I haven't seen any mining at all that's needed any kind of i5 or i7s or anything like that. i3s, the 7100s, even the 6100s will work. Yeah, Eric, I know I've kind of stirred the pot on the Microcenter thing, because I know a lot of other people are having some of the issues too. I mean, the best thing that we can do is, well, I mean, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write to the leaders, the owners of Microcenter, and just give them just a basic understanding of my experience and what we've done. I mean, there's between the BBT crew in general, I mean, we've spent a lot of money on products from their store in the last like 2 years. I mean, it's just amazing amounts of money that's been spent in the last 2 to probably 4 years actually at Microcenter, in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. So
and you've never been a shelf clearer.
No, I never. That's another thing that Ms. BBT just brought up. We don't go in there to clear the shelves, guys. We when I go there, I do it at a single rig at a time. I mean, we operate in a lot of rigs at a time. I mean, hundreds sometimes of rigs get built, and a lot of that stuff's from direct market purchase from like MA Labs, like some of the actual producers or the wholesalers. But we try to ensure that we pay homage essentially to the brick and mortars. So we show up there to buy 1 or 2 rigs worth of cards, maybe, and I mean, maybe in March of this last year, we did show a video where we had bought 4 full rigs. So if you look at the AR Z1 or Z270 AR board review that I did, the deep dive on that board, and we show this picture of this video, small video of having our cards full of stuff. That was actually 3 rigs worth of stuff. And it was actually 3 rigs and 2 gaming PCs. So we actually did a full gaming PC, 2 of them. You guys saw one of them in one of my videos, where I made 2 new gaming PCs for my daughters. And they were like Ryzen 5s, 1600Xs with, I think I put, I don't remember what I put in them, like 1080s or 1070s or something, I don't know. Or they might have been, yeah, I think they were something like that. I think we tested them with 1060s, but right now both of them have 1080 Ti's in them, but we upgraded them to 1080 Ti's. But you know, a lot of that kind of stuff, the single GPU purchases and stuff, we do in Microcenter. I mean, it's just convenient. It's 35 miles away from where I'm at now. I can get in the car, go over there, and buy some. But it was, as the rush came in over the last couple months, especially in the end of May, they really dialed back what people could buy, because there were people in there coming in there and clearing shelves, buying 39 graphics cards at a time type of thing. But from a BBT standpoint, that's not something that we would do normally. We would not go and clear the shelves. We will go buy a rig at a time to do a custom build, right? The bulk stuff that we do is a whole different thing, and that stuff I don't really get into. Just because the configuration and management of a large farm setup is a lot different than just kind of this setup, because you want to do things a lot more efficiently with monitoring, you know. So that's like it's all like SimpleMine with you know, them all to the same address, all mining the same thing, so it makes it easier to maintain. The builds are all the same exact stuff. It's the same exact risers. It's the same exact GPUs, and is close to the same GPUs as we can, because you're dealing at scale at that point. To where this kind of stuff is more purpose-built for the YouTube stuff. You know, it's to make sure that you guys are going to build one rig. Now, this one's a little extreme. This is a very expensive build, and once it's done, it's going to be like $12,000–13,000 computer, which is crazy talk, right? I mean, the ROI on that is nowhere really soon at current prices, but we don't know what's going to happen. Again, that's that whole hindsight versus foresight concept, to where, you know, we're mining Ubiq with this, and it mines 200–300 Ubiq over the next couple months. And maybe more. I think it's mine about 450–500 Ubiq in that much time. But, you know, let's say Ubiq goes from $1.20 or whatever it is right now, and it goes to $10, $12, $13, right? Well, a $13 Ubiq price at, you know, 500–600 coins changes things a bit. It starts to pay this entire rig off, type of thing, and that's in 6 and 7 months. So you know, equivalent in coins. And, you know, if it does get a lot of momentum with like the enterprises, and it goes to like an XMR standpoint, you know, towards like $30 or $40, now we're talking a whole different level. 500 Ubiq coins at $40 is a whole different story. You know, you're talking $20–30,000 then. That one machine could mine. And that's the kind of scale at volume and scale is what I'm talking about. Of mining a coin like that you can do with a mining rig, that's not worth much right now, but that has potential if it catches on. That's the catch. If it catches on with leadership, or not leadership, but you know, large companies. So it's a risk. It's a hedge risk. I would put something like Ubiq at a better chance than something like Litecoin taking off. I mean, Litecoin is the same damn thing as Bitcoin. There's no other real use case for it. It's a store of value, and it has a very quick network. But now with Bitcoin flagging, I don't, you know, and getting a lot of the same kind of benefits. You know, Litecoin right now is a great currency for quick exchange, and it's super fast. It transacts and validates and posts very quickly, and it's good for that kind of stuff. But, you know, in the long term, I mean, and I know Charlie, and I know the folks that are really putting a lot of time and money into understanding what the world wants with that kind of cryptocurrency that doesn't have a lot of the features like Ethereum. It's not a platform. It's a store of value and transfer mechanism. You know what they're going to do with it, and get it, if they get it into a lot of other places and just become kind of that intermediary fast transaction stuff, it'd probably do very well. But I see something like Ubiq, which is based off the best parts of Ethereum, with a corporate mindset on with regards to stability and enterprise. There could be some potential there. So that, you know, that's an investment one for us. And you know, as we see more coins, we'll bring it up to you guys. There's a ton of ICOs I'd like to get into. We're kind of going long in this video, so I'm not going to really cover that ICO piece. But we will, if you guys want me to go through kind of like future ICOs that we're looking at, and just the kind of analysis. You know, it's a different type of analysis, because we kind of mine and hedge versus just people that invest in currency and give you an analysis. I'm looking at it more from a technical implementation standpoint. Again, trying to use some of my background as a solutions architect to understand, like, okay, here's some of the root issues they're going to run into. Here's some of the problems with the scalability and critical scale stuff. So if that interests you guys, let us know. And it's kind of getting away from the mining side, but if that's something that you guys want to hear, we'll do that. Oh, we got a super chat.
Did you see the one about me?
Richard Porter, like a boss. Is that Canadian? $100 Canadian?
79. No, did you see the one above it?
No, I didn't.
The one about me?
Huh?
The one about me?
No, the one about you? You had one about you?
Yes.
What's that? Miss BBT is way better looking. I agree, guys. Yeah, she's much better looking than me. You guys get to see me, big ape, on here. We will get one of these days. I'll get her back on the video. I don't know. She's been, well, right now she's got out of the pool, so she's not really. I know probably wouldn't want to get in front of the camera. Her hair's everywhere and everything. And
Thanks.
yeah, thanks. No, I'll give him a play-by-play. No, yeah. Thanks again, Richard Porter, for that, buddy. We'll take care of it. What about Ubiq versus ECC mining? You're going to get a lot more Ubiq than you are ETC right now. I think the hash is quite different. We'll put the giveaway info in the description. Great, now I won't let her on the camera anymore. No, she makes that choice.
No, I do not.
Miss BBT does not have a tech background, but
Education background.
She is education background. She is a teacher, or used to be a teacher. Now she just takes care of the kids. But you wear that SpaceX hat like a boss. Nice. I love my SpaceX hat. I've been trying to get.
Six Flags.
Yeah, I lost my other one. Sold Six Flags. I need to go back out there and try to find my other one. Yeah, Ubiq is not as profitable as other Agri coins. That is a true statement. You can use 2 gigabyte cards with it. But it's one of those situations, guys, that if Ubiq gets some thunder under it, or it gets a good piece of info and it jumps to like $5, then it's going to be the rush, right? So it's kind of in before the rush. Hodl pool. We do have emails at bitchbetrippin.com. We've been using them just internally for our guys that are working on the site and trying to get that completed. And the application is it's now to the point that it's not a website, it's an application. So we're trying to get that finished up. But we do have emails that are at bitchbetrippin.com. We've been using Gmail, that Gmail address at the BBT address for so long that I just don't want to change it right now. The BBT giveaway at gmail.com is the email though for the giveaway. It should be
What is it? Are you going to type it?
BBT giveaway at gmail.com. Yeah, Extria, I saw that for the redistribution in 2013, not the 2015. Cyber schools, that's a good idea. We could probably get that out there and get a screenshot of the site. I'll talk to the team and see if we can take one. Dual mining, solo mine. Let's get so dual mining. If you have the power ability to do it, dual mining is always going to be more profitable. You're getting more coin. You're hedging across multiples. right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Stay tuned. We'll have the information down at the bottom of the description and for the giveaway. And we'll add we're doing a version 5.4 update to the MultiMiner today. It'll be in the description here once we get it deployed out there. We're adding a whole bunch of new coins out there too, or a couple new coins and a whole bunch of new pools. And we'll have the Zotac out there, information to be able to enter in on that one. The BBT dog, yeah. And we'll catch you guys later.